and the packs I will be using, because again, to me, where was this? Oh, I added the mass graph and it messed up my lines. All right, I'm gonna do the mass graph later on. So the displacement, right, it affected the lines. So for now, let's just turn it off. So I know some of you might feel like wrong, or some of you, as in, I really want to do everything by myself. I really want to do everything by myself. I mean, you can ask every experienced artist, more experienced artists who've been working for years. Each of us, we have stockpile of fucking assets, either our own or Kitbash sets, because this is how life looks or works. Commercial fucking business is, the client will ask you to do crazy things within crazy amount of time, and the clients more likely will be fine if you, like, if this is 90% of my work, all of this, like, my client won't give a fuck about that I've used a scan in here, that I didn't design this like particular clamp. Now on the other hand, of course, there are clients that will ask you to design something like specifically for them. I'm not saying you should import like Kitbash sets of castles, right, and you're just placing the castles, and you, after 5 hours you're like, fuck yeah, I'm done, this is all mine. Like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. What I'm trying to say is, the reason why I'm using those scans or those characters, because those are my solutions. Solution, or shortcuts. Like, but I don't feel bad about like taking shortcuts. And guess what? If I have time to design stuff, then for sure I will take my suite. If this image were like my magnum opus, fuck yeah, I will try to come up with everything. All I'm saying is, Blender is a tool, and within Blender we have a different set of tools and solutions. And I know we are always attached to everything needs to be my own. All I want to say is relying on assets or Kitbash pieces from other artists is a way to work too, as long as they are part of your bigger idea, right? And not only that, because I know I suck at hard surface design, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to ArtStation, I'm gonna buy Kitbash packs from dudes who are amazing at hard surface design. They're so much better at hard surface design, and they're selling their Kitbash pieces for like $10. Fuck me! Not only they know more about how to create Kitbash pieces and make them look cool, but they're selling them for $10. They just saved me like hours of my work, right? But also, that's on the other hand. But also on the other hand, it's also important to create your own library of assets, because that's how we learn too, right? We need to keep doing stuff. God damn it! I hope I'm clear about all this, and I'm talking about this for way too long than I initially planned. Anyway, in the meantime, you want to learn new shit, but also you want to wrap an image. You want to get an image done, and you want to satisfy your client too, right? It's important, if you start working on an image, you want to close this image down. What you don't want to happen is get an image to a certain point and be like, fuck me, I don't know how to do this, so I'm giving up, right? And again, all right, it's time to move forward, because I'm like speaking out opinions that might trigger some people. All right, so what I'm gonna do next is, I want to keep refining the scene, right? So I've grabbed my sheet, and I'm thinking, all right, I've spent doing this. Now let's start bringing some assets in, and I'm gonna talk you through some of the assets I'm bringing, because we'll be using some of the scans, we'll be using some of the characters. But for the characters, I'm just gonna blatantly go into my other scene, and I'm gonna remove all of those. Dudku. Or maybe the cat, I'm still thinking about what I said, and I just can't let it fucking go. Of course, you should be designing your own shit. Of course, you should practice and model how to do stuff. But at the same time, don't be afraid to rely on Kitbash pieces. I'm gonna remove the ground. All I wanted to do on the ground is introduce those rings. I'm gonna show you what I've done in a second. So the difference between the texture you just seen and the difference between what you're seeing right now is the texture is just slightly more polished. I just found another texture. And I'm gonna talk about refining those textures. Like this is just more, this texture was just more interesting than this one because this is like a leftover from another scene that I had. So this texture has its purpose, right? But what we are seeing in this texture is this gloop on the top, and then the raindrops or I don't know, whatever, this grunge leak, right? Something that works perfectly well on a vertical wall. This makes sense on a vertical wall because raindrops are pouring from up down, right? But it's something that didn't work for the ground of on the shader ground, the texture on the ground. And again, my texture setup is just this. This is the secret ingredient of how to make your art better. Don't spend your time in here, just keep moving forward. And again, there will be a tut where I'm building some complex shaders for the grounds and whatnot, but this isn't the tut. And I've just picked up slightly more interesting texture. Why did I pick it up? Because it has those holes, it has the pattern, and there's like this, I don't know what this goop of something separating the blocks, right? And there are some cuts in the blocks. And I'm gonna just remove those because those were meant as a placeholder, and I'm just gonna paste. Oops. Paste those. So this is where the difference between this one and this one, again, is just like a bunch of holes. And this texture is more interesting than just this one, the boring one I had. So I still need this boring texture, right? At the beginning, I needed to, because why I'm changing the textures now? Why I didn't do it right at the beginning? Because, well, at the first step, as you've seen, I wanted to texture my scene within like a minute or two, right? Because this gives me more visual feedback. And then I'm just refining my choices, going to the pyramid again, right? So the difference between this and this is just a more interesting texture, right? And there's a separation in here. I'm gonna talk about those textures in a second. Ooh. That's weird. And I don't need those fences. Let's get them lower. Maybe I will use them. I don't know yet. Those handrails, because they might be great indicator, right? And what I want to do now is grab this ring, duplicate it, and pull it down like so. Because I spent some time modeling this stuff, right? Why wouldn't I reuse it? And I want to do this with this one as an is. So I want to rotate it around the axis in the middle, right? I want the origin of center to be in the middle, but I can do it with where there's like a bunch of modifiers. If I change my origin cursor, the mesh will change, right? So this one, I just want to right click, convert to mesh. And if you don't have convert to mesh key bound, you don't have to, but I have it bound to convert. In settings, key map, convert to right mouse click. And I think I talk about it. I'm gonna use convert to mesh because it saves me from clicking on the side. So now my origin is in the center, which means I can rotate the cylinder around this axis properly. And don't worry, we're gonna get to those textures in the next step. Let's move this down. What's this? Oh, I don't need those, I think, or maybe I do. And the last thing I want to do is I want to bring back my OG arm. Pam, pam, pam. It's in a collection. Yes. Let's color code it purple. Clamps. Spawning the collection. Moving it in here. Now, as you can see, I'm speeding up and I'm starting importing like different assets. Now, the reason why I'm doing so is because whatever I showed you so far Again, the modeling, I keep it super basic and simple. The texturing, again, I keep it super basic and simple. Whatever I'm doing right now, I feel like it's I've covered enough already for you to have like an idea what I'm doing right now, because I don't think like I should again go into I don't want to explain to you how I've modeled every single thing or how I textured every single thing, because guess what? If it's a cylinder, the UV is in here. If it's a flat surface, like this, how I UV shit, you project from view, scale the texture up, and try to hotspot it, right? So this should be up, right? And this doesn't work, so let's scale it down. And I'm not even looking at the proper texture, because I just know like whenever I UV stuff, I need to just scale it up, like so. And maybe let's add this texture. And simple secret to a better texture, to a better looking image, is just to constantly keep moving forward and not get caught up in here.